welcome to another episode of the Highlight Reel. My name is Nick Lynch.
And I'm Ben Heltzer.
And after a long 2024 NFL season, it is finally Super Bowl week, the week we have all been preparing for since the start of the season. So we'll be going over some player props for the Super Bowl and then to end off our predictions. So let's get into it. So Saquon Barkley, the first prop we're going to do is the rushing yards. He's projected about 113.5 rushing yards. So, Ben, are you going to take the under or the over for that?
I am personally going to smash that over. I think that they're going to lean heavy on the run game. KC does have a pretty good rushing defense, but they have an even better passing defense. So if I was Philly, they already have probably the best rushing attack in the entire league with the best running back in the game. I think that Saquon has to get at least like 20 to 25 touches. So yeah, I'm taking that over easily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take the over too. I mean, what a way to cap off a season. With a season that Saquon had. If he does get over 113 rushing yards, which I think he will, it's just going to be a great season for him. And I think that gives the Eagles the best shot of winning the Super Bowl.
If they want to win, it's going to have to be off the back of Barkley. So yeah. I think that it's a pretty safe over.
So next we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts' passing yards. He's projected about 212 passing yards. I'm going to take the under on that. I don't think Jalen Hurts has been good at throwing the ball this postseason, and I don't think he will get over 212 passing yards. But look out for A.J. Brown. I mean, because he's his go-to guy, when things are getting tough for the Eagles. Hurts can just throw the ball up, and A.J. Brown will be down the field. But still, I don't think that's going to be enough for 212 passing yards. So I'm going to take the under on that.
I'm actually going to give him the over. I think he threw for about 300 in Super Bowl 57, and that's kind of what I'm basing it off of, I think. And he has the same weapons, and he has Saquon out of the backfield. I trust her. I know he hasn't been great at throwing the ball, and I think they will lean heavy on the run game. But I do think they get a lot of like big splash plays, which is definitely going to help his stats. So I'm gonna take the over on that one. I think that it'll be a very offensive game overall.
So next we're going to talk about the passing touchdowns then for Jalen Hurts. It's 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think I'm going to take the over on that. I don't think he'll get the passing yards, but I think he'll get the passing touchdowns. I think he's going to throw one to Devontae Smith. I can see him getting the touchdown, and maybe a passing one to Saquon, maybe A.J. Brown, like we talked about earlier. But I think he's going to get more than a touchdown pass.
So I'm going to take the over. I'm actually going to be exactly opposite of you. I think that he won't get the 2 touchdowns he needs. I think he will get one to I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert's going to get a touchdown. I have no idea why. But I'm going to say his one passing touchdown is going to be to Dallas Goedert, but all their other touchdowns are going to be from Saquon or from him rushing. I think that they're going to pass the ball to get down the field, and then once they're there, they're just going to run the ball in with their great O-line and just their great rushing game in general. So I think that Hurts will hit the over for his passing yards, but I think that he won't get those 2 passing touchdowns.
So then we move to the other quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. The passing yards, he's projected 252. I'm going to take the over on that. I think, Mahomes started the season, he hasn't played that good, but ever since that Christmas game in Pittsburgh, I think he's been starting to turn into the MVP quarterback we've been watching his entire career. And I think he will get the over on the passing yards. I think this is, he takes the Super Bowl as a very important game, and I think he'll continue to dominate.
Yeah, I agree. He just shows up in the playoffs no matter how he does in the regular season. I also have him hitting that over. And the run game's fine. It's serviceable, it's decent, but really, if they're gonna win, they're gonna lean on Mahomes in the passing game. So, I think that he will hit that over. Again, it's gonna be a high-scoring game. I expect a lot of offense. So, that one's a gimme in my opinion as well.
And then I'm also gonna take the over on the passing touchdowns too. 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think he's gonna get at least 3 or 4. I'm looking at. I think maybe one's going to go to Kelsey, maybe another to Xavier Worthy, the rookie. But I think, the Chiefs are going to score a lot of points, and and to do that, they, like you said before, they rely on Patrick Mahomes to do that. So I'm gonna take that over on passing touchdowns.
I'm gonna agree with you. His line is the same as Hurts, which I don't think it should be. I think it should be probably 2.5. But I think that he'll get at least 3 passing touchdowns, 1 or 2 to Kelsey, and then another one maybe to Worthy or even Juju. But regardless, I think that Mahomes is gonna hit both of his overs on yards and touchdowns.
So that basically answers our next question for the next player prop, Travis Kelsey. He's half a touchdown. I think he's definitely going to get one from Mahomes. Last year in the Super Bowl had a slow first half, but started to heat up in the second half that helped the Chiefs beat San Francisco. And I think he's going to have a good game all around. I can see him getting 1, maybe 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, Travis Kelsey hasn't had the best of seasons as a tight end, but I think in the Super Bowl he'll start to break out in that as tight end position, and I think he's going to get a few touchdowns.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he'll get at least 1. He didn't have one last year, but this year they're going for the three-peat. They're going for history. I think he's going to leave it all out on the field, along with that entire Chiefs team, and I definitely think he'll get at least 1.
So now we're going to go to our predictions for the big game. Super Bowl 59 winner is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to take them 27-23 over Philadelphia. But the thing is, I think with Philadelphia, they're going to start out with the run game, and then if the run game doesn't work, they're going to go with the passing game. But I still don't think it's going to be enough for the Eagles to handle. I think Kansas City is going to beat them.
I'm right there with you. I think it'll be a bit higher scoring. I'm going to go 33-31 on field, similar to how Super Bowl 57 ended with a field goal with under a minute left. And I think that it just seems like fate. It just seems like destiny at this point. They're destined to get that three-peat that no other team has ever gotten in NFL history. And I agree with what you said, that the Eagles might abandon the run game. But that they might even do that even if the run game is working, because we've seen teams for some reason or another just abandon the run against the Chiefs. We saw it last year with the Niners. They didn't run the ball at all in the third quarter, and they didn't score. They were held scoreless even though the run game was working in the first half. They just abandoned it, ended up losing. Same thing with the Ravens in the AFC Championship game last year, when they just, for some reason, they just didn't run the ball, even though that's 2 amazing rushing teams that just completely got away from the run game, and it's what probably cost them the game. And I feel like even though the Eagles have the best rushing game in the NFL, I feel like for some reason they're just going to fall into that same trap, and it's what's going to give the Chiefs that three-peat.
I agree. But this will be the 4th Super Bowl rematch that we've seen. I mean, Kansas City and Philadelphia. You had San Francisco and Kansas City last year, and then 2019, and then you also had the Giants and the Patriots, and that too. But yeah, I could see Kansas City three-peating, and they're going to be the first team to do it.
100%. It's a sad world, but it's fate at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on the NFL. But up next, me and Smitty will talk about the NHL.
Hello and welcome to my pilot episode of my new segment about the NHL. I'm Smitty and this is Nick Lynch.
So let's talk about the JT Miller trade first that the Vancouver Canucks sent to the New York Rangers. I think this is a good trade for the Rangers. I know they didn't really have much going for them this year to start off, but they're starting to heat up, and the Rangers want to make that final playoff push.
Yeah, I totally agree. They went on a 10-game win streak, and then they traded for JT Miller, which I thought it was a great trade, giving up Hedl, which honestly isn't that bad, and a first-rounder, which is okay. You're getting a good player, but yes, JT Miller is old, but they still got a good player for a few years, I think.
Yeah, and for Vancouver, they did end up getting Pettersson from Pittsburgh, so I think it kind of evens out there.
Yep, that was a good trade by good trade by Vancouver, getting the third Pettersson on the team, which is very odd. There's three Petterssons on the team. But talking about the Rangers, let's get into our first game, and our only game that we'll be covering, the Bruins versus the Rangers. It was honestly a quick start to the game with 10 minutes left in the first. The Bruins go on a 2-man advantage, and they get a bunch of scoring opportunities. But as the first penalty expires, like right as it expires, Charlie McAvoy buries a puck from Pavel Zacha to make it 1-0. So like I thought they scored on the 5-on-3, so I thought I was confused at why both power plays were off, but they went under review and took the first. It was for the second power play, so they only got one power play goal.
Yeah, and then 20 seconds later for the Rangers, they have an awkward bounce after Carlo tries to get the puck out, and the goal was scored by JT Miller, the newest New York Ranger. That was one of 2 goals he had in his Rangers debut.
Yeah.
And then with 3 minutes left, Matt Poitras dumps the puck in and opens and chases it, and he finds David Pastrnak in the low slot where he buried it to make it 2-1 with 2 minutes left in the first.
Yep, and that was one of the pretty goals of the day by Poitras and David Pastrnak, and they're just buzzing since Poitras has been back in the lineup, and since he's been playing with Pastrnak, he's just been great. I think Pastrnak has a good leadership on him, and he's going to make a good run for the Bruins and on that line. And then with 4 minutes left in the second, Marchand has the puck, and he takes it all the way around, passes it to Andrew Peeke, who takes a one-timer where Charlie Coyle is in front of the net waiting for it, and he tips it in to make it 3-1 Boston.
Yeah, I saw that goal. That was a nice goal. It's just too much.
Just a great play by Marchand, waiting, hesitating, finding the right person, and then Peeke taking the shot, and Coyle, who has a very good hand-eye coordination, buries the puck on the tip. And then with 3:15 left in the second, Will Borgen of the Rangers takes a penalty, and Boston once again capitalizes on the fourth best PK in the league. Zacha scored that, but the Rangers PK has just been amazing this year, and the Bruins power play just not been very good. It's like they're like the 29th best power play in the league. Like, you can't be having that, but having 2 power play goals on one of the best power plays in the league is just great.
Yeah, 35 seconds into the third period, right away, JT Miller scores his second goal and makes it 4-2, cuts the lead down to 2. But then 45 seconds later, Poitras for Boston, he once again makes the pass to David Pastrnak and scores another goal to make it 5-2. And then the Rangers score halfway through the third from Johnny Brodzinski for a tip-in goal to make it 5-3.
Yeah, to go back to that Pastrnak goal, just again, Poitras to David Pastrnak, just a beautiful setup. Pasternak's trailing, Poitras hesitates, passes it back, Pastrnak rips a shot and makes it 5-3, or 5-2, and then Brodzinski scored to make it 5-3. And then with less than 4 minutes left, Pasta gets his hat trick on an empty net to seal the game for his first hat trick of the season. But real quick, let's talk about Pasternak's second half of the season. He got Player of the Month in January. He's just having a great year, or a great second half of the year. I think he's the best player in the NHL right now.
Yeah, first half of the season, I thought that whole Boston Bruins team wasn't really exceeding expectations. No. And then ever since the new year, everyone on that Boston team, after they fired their head coach, and David Pastrnak, I think, he's a great candidate for the Hart Trophy this year.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say Hart Trophy yet. If he keeps scoring,
yeah,
definitely. But he's looking like he's one of the best players in the NHL, and if he keeps it up, he's gonna definitely make the Bruins have a good run in the playoffs. Yeah. But also talking about the playoffs, I know it's a while away right now, but the Eastern Conference standings it's a very tight race right now, with 4 teams are going back and forth in the wild card spot between the 1, 2, 3, and 4 spot. The Blue Jackets, the Red Wings, the Bruins, and the Lightning, they all have 59 points and 58 points. And I think if each team keeps winning, it's going to be a really tight race for those top 2 wild card spots, and also the top 3 spots in the Metro and the Atlantic conferences. I think it's going to be a very good race. The Bruins won last night. They beat the Wild 3-0, and I saw that. I'm pretty sure the Wings lost, but they lost in overtime, so they got their 1 point. But the Lightning lost, which was very good. But the Senators won, which is also not good because they're in the third spot in the Atlantic. So, as a Bruins fan, I really don't like to see it, but I guess that's just how it goes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the wild card race. I mean, I would love to see Columbus get in because with the tragic event with Johnny Gaudreau in the offseason. But I mean, I would also like to see Detroit get in too. They haven't made the playoffs in almost a decade.
Yeah, I totally agree. Seeing Detroit or Columbus getting into the playoffs, that would be great. And the way they turn their franchises around lately, it's gonna look good.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Metro, you got Washington basically starting to run away with the division, and then Carolina, and then New Jersey. And
I think honestly those are three locks right there. I don't think anybody's catching up to those three teams. Maybe the Devils will drop down to a wild card spot, but if the Devils keep winning, then I don't think they'll drop.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's going to do it for us on the NHL, on the highlight reel. Thank you for joining. See you next week. But coming up next is Andrew talking about soccer.
Hello, I am Andrew Mirzaaghasi, and today I will be talking about soccer once again. Man City got extremely lucky as they were able to win their last Champions League match against Club Brugge 3-1. This is huge because Man City, instead of being eliminated from the Champions League, now have to face off against another team in 2 legs to keep on with the competition. Of course, I like this. I hope they would continue on. I think they're not going to win this year, of course, but I still want to see them at least progress to see where they go with this team. Speaking of going with this team, yes, I'm going to be talking about the Premier League and their performance of how they lost to Arsenal 5-1. Yeah, 5-1, we lost to Arsenal. Not surprised that we lost to what a team of is Arsenal, because Man City can't handle anything right. And like I said multiple times in multiple episodes, Man City is a coin flip. They just flipped the wrong side of the coin because they ended up just losing and just scoring once. And the one person who scored for us, Erling Haaland. It's just sad. I'm just sorry. Like, we have all these other people, and Haaland can score. Of course, Foden can score, of course. But they always pass it to Haaland, and then they always expect him to score. Of course, this doesn't work like that because we have other strikers as well. We have to stop relying on him and try to put others on the line to make sure that they can score as well. Of course, I have no clue what the next Premier League season is going to be like, if Man City is going to keep up with this. We will just have to see. I just sense a dark future coming up for them. So what about for Barcelona? Well, for Barcelona, we have a tie in the Champions League against Atlanta. They are sadly still in second place as they are still safe in the Champions League. They don't have to do what Man City's doing, in which they have to verse a team within 2 legs. Trust me, this new Champions League format is very confusing. I don't blame you if you don't get it, because the top teams don't have to do anything. Meanwhile, near the middle of the stats or standings, they have to go into 2 legs to see if they progress through. So, again, won't blame you for that. It's a new format. But we move on to the La Liga, in which they won against Alaves 1-0. It's not a big win. However, a win is a win for them. They didn't do enough points, though, to go up in the La Liga leaderboard, as they're still in 3rd place. Real Madrid, of course, still leading. And Atlético Madrid in 2nd place. Again, it's just the starter. I sense a very good future for this team. Moving on. For transfer news, there is a possibility, a rumor, by the way, that when I mean we, I mean Man City, might get Nico Gonzalez, Barca's midfielder, to go to Man City for £60 million. This deal has not been confirmed yet. It's only rumors. It would be interesting to see what he could do for Man City. However, Man City is just doing awful this season. I don't even know what they're going to do, because if they keep flopping over with the Champions League, not even barely making it even, because they're in the middle of the standings in the Champions League, and in the Premier League, they're just in 4th place. So I have no clue what he's going to do for him. He might bring brighter midfielding for Man City. But overall, I just sense that this is just a curse from the Ballon d'Or for Rodri. So going on to our Premier League standings. And first we have Liverpool with 56 points. Second, Arsenal with 50 points. Third, Nottingham Forest with 47 points. Man City with 41 points. And fifth place, we have Newcastle with 41 points. Like I said multiple times before, I feel like Liverpool are going to win this year. This will make it their second time that they win the Premier League this entire time. Nottingham Forest, I'm still confused but baffled that they're somehow in third place. Good for them, I can say. Man City just need to do better. Newcastle, I have no opinion on them, except I hate Anthony Gordon because he keeps taking penalties and scoring against us. So that's the only opinion I have for them. Thanks for watching, but don't go anywhere, as Rocco and Matt are going to be talking about the NBA.
Hello, and welcome back to the NBA segment on the highlight reel. Today we got a couple of games to cover, as well as a major trade between the Lakers and the Mavericks. Let's get it started. First, we have the Knicks and the Lakers, Rocco. Lakers taking this one 128 to 112. Thoughts?
Outplayed, outcoached. Listen, the King came back to the Garden. He defeated the Knicks once more. It's what LeBron James does. He's had a lot of success against the Knicks in his career. And look, the Lakers, they're a good team, and we're going to touch on momentarily why they're about to get even better, and this might not bode well for the Western Conference. So a good win from the Lakers there.
Moving on, we got the Cavs. We got the Mavs and the Cavs. Cavs taking this one 144 to 101. Thoughts on this one?
Goodness me. I don't know what the Mavs do now. Like, do they even have a chance going forward? Do they have any chance to compete anytime soon? Listen, Anthony Davis will be a great pickup. We'll touch on that in a second. But again, this is what happens when you get rid of your best player and the player you get doesn't even play. So this is just like the Mavs are just kind of in no man's land now. Nice job. You had a generational player and you traded him for a bag of chips. So good on the Cavs. This is a game you should be winning.
Pretty much.
We know how bad it is.
Now let's talk about the mind-blowing trade between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. Let's break it down. Dallas gave up Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick. I don't think this was a good trade, honestly, but I'm interested to see what happens. Let's talk about it, Rocco. What are your thoughts?
You traded the greatest generational player of the modern era for Max Christie. That's what the Dallas Mavericks just did. You traded arguably the best player in the NBA for Max Christie and Anthony Davis, who has broken down, and a first-round pick. There's no guarantee that first-round pick's going to be good. This is the NBA. It's not the NFL where you have so many options. There's no guarantees with this. Luka and LeBron, that should not be allowed to the league. And I know there's no rules for that, but I'm just saying, that's a duo. How do you stop that? Two hungry players that want another championship. Luka wants his first. I can't believe it. I can't believe the Mavericks would ever think of doing this. Nobody saw this coming. I didn't see this coming. You didn't see this coming. Just a disastrous trade. I don't see a way the Mavericks get out of this. Not this year or next year. Maybe in the third. I don't see it.
I gotta say, though, I am excited to see how this plays out in the coming years. That's going to do it for us today, but don't go anywhere because next up is Myles and Luke on some more trades in the NBA. We'll see you next week.
Welcome to the highlight reel. We got two big NBA trades to talk about, so let's get right into it.
First, we're going to start off with possibly the biggest trade in NBA history. Out of nowhere, too. Luka Doncic goes to the Lakers. Anthony Davis and Max Christie go back to the Mavs. The Mavericks also get a first-round pick. But, I mean, that was crazy. I mean, everyone thought it was fake at first with how big of a trade it was. A 25-year-old superstar Luka Doncic going to the Lakers.
Absolutely insane. I thought Shams got hacked. I mean, if Woj did that, that would have been the biggest Woj bomb of all time. Unbelievable. But, I've been saying it for like 2 months. Luka cannot stay in shape. He comes in every offseason, and he's always out of shape. I don't know why. I don't know what he does in the offseason, but he's clearly not working out. And the Mavericks GM clearly saw that and said, we don't want that type of guy on our team.
Yes, that's the reason they traded him. Still doesn't make sense. Like,
he's
a 25-year-old superstar who led your team to the NBA championship last year.
Yeah, I never said it made sense. I don't agree with it, but I see the point of view. But for the Mavericks side of things, I think it's more interesting to talk about with them because now they have Kyrie and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is finally going to be playing the power forward again alongside Derek Lively, and I think they're going to be a really interesting contender in the West. Obviously, the West is stacked, but I think they could go pretty far this year.
Yeah. Obviously, you need Kyrie Davis to stay healthy if you want to have a shot. One other guy who, if they want to actually make a run this year, Klay Thompson has to, like, I mean, he's not going to be what he once was, but he has to be, like, a contributor to their team.
Yeah, he can't go 0 from 10 again.
Yeah.
But moving on to the other big trade. So the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox to pair with Victor Wembanyama, and the Kings get Zach LaVine, Sidi Sissoko, and 3 first-round picks. Luke, what do you think?
I think the Spurs got the best of this deal. I mean, they gave up 4 firsts, which are protected here, and these are protected. Like, who knows how many of those actually end up becoming first-round picks when they're supposed to be. For De'Aaron Fox, who's a superstar point guard, to put with already one of the best centers in basketball, 20 years old, Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama, I mean, he's going to be one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah. I like the trade for the Spurs' point of view, but the Kings, what are you doing? You want to be as bad as possible so you can tank for this upcoming draft class, and now they're not going to be good enough to do anything in the West, and they're not bad enough either to get a top pick.
I think the Kings should still be good. LaVine's not Fox, but he's still a very good player. He's a good offensive player for sure. Putting him with Sabonis, I think they'll still be good.
Yeah.
They're like going to be a bottom of the playoff team. I think they'd be somewhere in that play-in tournament. Plus, you get 3 first-round picks. Again, I don't know what protected there is, but I mean, I think it's a good trade for them.
Yeah, but let's talk about the Spurs here for a sec. Victor and De'Aaron Fox, now he has an actual pick-and-roll partner and not 40-year-old Chris Paul. That might just be unstoppable in the West.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think we look 3 years from now, 5 years from now, they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. Wembanyama's going to be unstoppable. Fox is still young, and he's really good. So, yeah, I mean, they still have more assets to trade.
Mm-hmm.
They still got a deep team, more first-round picks. They could go get another superstar.
If they want to, but what superstar would that be at this point? I mean, Jimmy Butler still has not been he still hasn't been traded.
What would you have to give up for him? Not much. I mean, if you wanted to put him on that team and go let them play in the playoffs with Fox, Jimmy, and Wemby this year, see how it works out. I mean, it could go well.
Yeah, the whole Jimmy situation is honestly incredible, how he's not traded by now. And it's entirely his fault. He could have gone to the Grizzlies. He didn't want to for some reason.
He didn't want to go to the Warriors either.
I don't understand what he's doing.
All he says is he wants out of Miami, but then other teams want him. He's like, no, I don't want to go there either. Like, where do you want to go?
Go play in China. If that's where you want to be, that's the only team that'll take you.
Another guy who I could see being traded at the deadline is possibly Kevin Durant. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that the Suns would be willing to trade him. Do you think he gets traded?
I think he does get traded, but it would only be to the Warriors because they're going to call and they're going to attempt to trade for people. I know Pods was untouchable.
They say they don't want to trade anyone, and I've heard the last couple of days that they've tried to trade for Durant, Giannis, and LeBron. Like that can't happen, especially if you're going to trade like these Podziemski and whoever else.
Kevon Looney.
You're gonna have to trade those guys, of course, if you want to get a guy like Durant. But it's gonna have to be Kuminga, Podziemski, a lot of firsts.
Yeah, and
whatever
Moses
else, probably
Moody.
Wiggins too, because of the money.
Yeah, but another big man who could be traded is Walker Kessler. I don't know. There are a lot of destinations for him. What do you think?
I think he goes to the Lakers.
You know, I
think it would have to be Reeves in a first. Austin Reeves in a first, and I think he's a Laker.
I don't know, because I don't know if the Lakers want to give up Reeves. Reeves is just like a really good, tough, like player who averages like 15-5, and I don't know if they want to give that up for a big man.
I think if they want to compete this year, they're going to have to, because right now they're starting Jackson Hayes at center, and that isn't going to work. You're not going to win in the playoffs with Jackson Hayes as your starting center.
If you were Rob Pelinka right now, would you prefer Myles Turner or Walker Kessler?
Probably Turner because of the three-point shooting.
I'd agree.
I'm really hoping that they end up choosing Mitchell Robinson and giving us Dalton Connect. That's not. As a Knicks fan, I mean, they could have Robinson. We'll get Connect, another wing scorer off the bench. That would be really nice.
Do you think the Rockets do anything? Because they've been contending.
They got a lot of depth. depth. Like, I don't know what they need. I don't think trading for Jimmy's their best.
Yeah, because they have a lot of young guys.
Yeah, I think they continue to build.
Yeah. Well, that's all for this week on the highlight reel. Maybe we see some more trades. Maybe we don't, but we'll see you next week.